Sup guys, so in this session we are going to talk about variety of concepts. Yeah, though all of them are pretty small. So we'll start with what is interactive shell, and then today is the first day when we are graduating into writing our first Python program. And then as mentioned yesterday, we are going to talk about conditional statements, which actually will make us learn about indentation as well. And yeah, the first built-in function, I guess, that we are looking into, like that we'll be looking into. Okay, so what is a interactive shell? See, until now we have written code line by line pressed, and as soon as we hit return, it was returning us the reply, or it like the Python virtual machine was giving us some kind of reply. So that particular environment is called as interactive shell of Python. Okay, that can be accessed in two ways. First, from the terminal or the command prompt of Windows. Okay, so now first let us look into since I'm using a Linux machine, I I will tell you how to access your Python interpreter from the terminal. Alright, so how to fire the terminal? Most Linux machines will take up this particular key combination, Control Alt and T. Alright, Alt space and X, it will give you an expanded window, maximized window. Okay, now all you have to do is type Python and hit enter. Alright, so by default every Linux machine has both Python 2.x and 3.x versions of Python. uh, Depending on what is the default virtual machine that is mentioned in your path, that will be hit. So in some machines it could be something like Python 3, because typing Python and hitting enter might directly call your 2.x version of Python. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Python 3 and enter, also it works. Okay, then that will specifically open the 3.x version of Python. Alright, so now this is how you access the interactive shell from the command prompt. There is one more way for Windows people generally. It's when you are installing Python on a Windows machine, you have to install it separately. That it Python doesn't come by default like it does with Linux and Unix based machines. I mean Linux and Mac OS. So for Windows environment, you when you install Python, you also get something called as an IDLE, integrated development environment, or integrated development and learning environment. Okay, so what you can do is you can hit the Windows button, search for IDLE, and it will open the interactive shell again. Okay, yeah, that is how you access the shell. But I think we have graduated from that now, and it's time for us to write our first Python program. Okay, so for this purpose you can take any editor of your choice, but here I use VS Code very often, so I am opening VS Code, Visual Studio Code. Okay, now after opening Visual Studio Code, I press Ctrl N. The first thing I'll do is I'll save this file in a desired folder. Okay, and the extension will be .py, because .py is the extension for your Python programs. Okay, right. So now what we'll do, until now whatever we have written in our interactive shell, the same thing we'll do now. A is equal to 5. Let me increase the size. Yeah, A is equal to 5, B is equal to 10. Now what I will do, print a plus b, excuse me, a minus b, a multiplied by b, and as usual a divided by b. Okay, I'll just save this. Now how to run this program to get the desired result? Okay, I'll show you how to run this program from the terminal or the command prompt for Windows. Okay, so now how to do that? Open the terminal as usual and navigate yourself to the folder in which you have saved this particular file. Here it is showing the path. In home, in Gautam, video, screencast and written content, I have my file, right? So let's just navigate to there. All right. Yeah, we have successfully navigated to there, and now let us list out all the files in that particular folder. And here is our Python file, right? So what we'll do is you have to call for the interpreter. Do not hit enter. Okay, now Python space, you have to give the file name. You can write a few characters of your file name and just hit tab so that it autofills. Okay, and now you can happily press enter. It will give you the result. Now check. A is 5, B is 10, A plus B 15, A minus B minus 5, A into B 50, and A by B 0.5. Got it? So this is how you run your Python programs. Okay, so now we shall look into the conditional statements of Python. Okay, so we'll use the same comparisons that we have learned earlier and implement them. So now what are conditional statements? Like, basing on a particular condition, you want to decide whether to do something or not. Okay, so now I want to print A if A is greater than B, else I want to print B. Alright, so the best part here is you can write if and the condition A greater than B. Now comes the part called as indentation. See, in Python we don't have to use any kind of brackets to define a block of code. Okay, no flower brackets, no square brackets to define a block of code. That's never been there. Okay, but I'm just telling you. So no brackets at all. All you have to do is you have to put a colon and come to the next line and just make sure that you are indenting your code. Indenting is nothing but this trailing space that you are leaving to tell the Python virtual machine that whatever I write here belongs to this particular condition, which means only if this condition is true, then these statements should be executed, right? So as soon as you are done with your block statements, you have to indent back to the most previous indented space to write your next block of code, else. So this is our code now. So what will this do? The Python interpreter will now understand, like, if, okay, he wants to check this condition, if this returns true, then this will be executed. Else, which means if this doesn't return true, then directly this will be executed. All right, so let's run and check. So since a is less than b, we want b to be printed. Got it? So the good news is you no more have to write block of code using any kinds of brackets and get confused. And the bad news is until now you've been just forced to write or indent your code, but now you have to. You don't have another option in Python at least. Okay. Yep. And as we have seen until now, print is a built-in function in Python. So now I have one more condition. I have total 3 conditions that I want to include. If a is greater than b, I want a to be printed, or if b is greater than a, I want b to be printed. All right. Else, if nothing, then print a is equal to b. Here we have 2 conditions primarily. If both the conditions fail, then the else part comes, right? So to mention my second condition, to make sure that if my first condition passes, it doesn't come to the second condition, or if my only if my first condition doesn't pass, it will come to the second condition. To make sure of that, just like we have else if in other programming languages, we have here the same thing but with a short form called elif. All right, if, elif, and else. This is the if else ladder of Python. Now to understand this, what I'll do is I'll make even a as 10. Got it? A is equal to b, which means this condition has got executed. Now what I'll do is five. Since b is greater than a, we got b 10 printed. Now a is 50, b is 10. Now our first condition will be printed. Got it? Yes, so this is it for this session. Thank you.